I slammed the resignation letter down on Elena's desk like it was a federal indictment, my voice slicing through the HR hum like a switchblade. Effective immediately, per Clause 8 of the Executive Severance Protocol. I'm out, and you're all going down with the ship I helped build. The words hung in the air thicker than the fog rolling off the Hudson that morning, and before Elena could even blink her Botoxed lids, my phone buzzed like a hornet's nest kicked over. Marcus, the CEO, his name flashing like a guilty verdict. I let it ring twice, 3 times, savoring the panic I could almost hear through the vibrations, before answering with a cool, "Too late for damage control, Marcus. You should have thought of that before you pinned the SEC fraud on me 3 years ago." That call was the spark. But the fire? It had been smoldering since the day I buried his secret for love, or loyalty, or whatever cocktail of desperation we called it back then. New York City, 2025. Wall Street's veins pulsing with crypto scams and AI hype, where deals get inked in blood money and betrayals are just quarterly reports. I was Amelia Hart, 42, VP of Risk Management at Apex Capital, the kind of firm that turned pension funds into private jets. I'd clawed my way up from a Queens tenement, double major in finance and psych from NYU on scholarships and spite, because nothing says American dream like outrunning your deadbeat dad's shadow. Marcus? He was the golden boy, silver fox now at 58, the one who spotted me at a networking mixer in 18, handed me a Scotch neat, and whispered, "You're wasted on audits, kid. Come build empires with me." Empires? Yeah, right. It started innocent enough. Late nights in his corner office overlooking the Battery, spreadsheets morphing into strategy sessions, his hand brushing mine over the keyboard like it was accidental. By 20, we were lovers, tangled in the kind of affair that Wall Street eats for breakfast. Power couple in the shadows, me his right hand, him my ticket out of invisible. I thought it was mutual destruction if it leaked. He called it synergy. But synergy doesn't cover up embezzlement. Not when your boyfriend siphons $12 million from client escrow to prop up his failing side hustle, a dodgy NFT platform that tanked harder than FTX. I found out on a Tuesday, rain lashing the windows like God's own audit. I'd been running projections for the Q3 board meet, cross-referencing wire transfers, when the numbers didn't add up. A ghost account, funneled through Cayman shells, straight to Marcus's personal LLC. My stomach dropped faster than the Dow in '08. I confronted him that night in his Tribeca loft, the city a blur of neon below us. "What the hell is this?" I shoved the printout under his nose, voice cracking like cheap crystal. He didn't flinch, just poured 2 glasses of that overpriced Macallan, sat me down, and spun the yarn. "It's temporary, Ames. A bridge loan. The platform's about to moon, blockchain gold rush. You and me will be untouchable." Untouchable. The word tasted like ash. He swore it was a victimless pivot, clients none the wiser, but I knew better. Insider trading light, fraud dressed as innovation. Call the feds? I'd be collateral. His emails tied me to the approvals, my sign-off on the risk assessments. "You're in this with me," he said, eyes soft as a predator's. "We fix it together, or we both fry. Love makes idiots of us all, I guess." Or maybe it was the fear, the bone-deep terror of watching my career evaporate, my name in the Post headlines. Wall Street whiz-turned whore. So I covered it. Falsified the audits, buried the discrepancies in offshore footnotes, took the ethical hit like a bullet for his badge. For 6 months, I was his ghostwriter on the ledger, his alibi in the boardroom, smiling through shareholder calls while my ulcer bled. The bust came swift as a margin call. SEC raid in spring 22, agents swarming the 50th floor like ants on sugar. Marcus played the shocked patriarch, feigning outrage while leaking my name to the tip line. Anonymous, of course, through a burner lawyer. I took the fall, suspended pending investigation, painted as the rogue operator, the ambitious climber who cooked the books for a corner office. He testified against me in the closed-door hearings, voice steady as steel. Amelia had autonomy in risk. I trusted her judgment. Trusted. The word still makes me gag. Fines gutted my savings. A deferred prosecution deal kept me out of stripes. But the black mark? It stuck like tar. Firms ghosted my resume. Recruiters whispered, tainted, over coffee. I clawed back to Apex as a mid-level consultant, demoted to glorified intern, while Marcus climbed to CEO on the board's nod. Clean slate, golden parachute intact. That was the betrayal's knife. Deep, twisting slow. But secrets fester, and mine started whispering in the dead of night. I kept copies, see? USB drives hidden in my Brooklyn walk-up, emails archived in encrypted clouds, the kind of digital breadcrumbs that could unravel his empire like a cheap sweater. For 2 years, I played the long game. Quiet alliances in the cafeteria, eavesdropping on exec whispers, mapping the fault lines. Elena in HR? She owed me. I'd covered her affair with the IT guy back in 21, saved her from a messy divorce subpoena. The board? Fractured by egos, ripe for a wedge. And Marcus? Still thought I was his loyal shadow, slipping me consulting gigs that were really just busy work to keep me close, under his thumb. The plan crystallized over a solo bourbon at my favorite dive, the Rusty Anchor in Dumbo, where the jukebox spits Springsteen and the walls weep regret. Clause 8. Buried in Apex's employee handbook, a relic from the Enron scandals, it granted immediate severance with full whistleblower protections if invoked during resignation, triggering an internal audit on any cited irregularities. No HR rubber stamp, no exit interview fluff. It was a nuclear option, designed to flush out the rats before they jumped ship. Marcus had buried it under legalese, assuming no one would dare. But I would. I'd quote it word for word, attach my dossier as Exhibit A, and watch the dominoes fall. Revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's a slow roast inferno, and I was done playing sous chef. The resignation hit on a crisp October Monday, leaves turning traitor in Central Park, mirroring my own pivot. I strode into Apex's glass fortress at 8:45 sharp, letter crisp in my clutch, heels clicking like countdown clocks. Elena's office smelled of vanilla candles and desperation, posters of Empower Her, retreats mocking the walls. She looked up from her kale smoothie, all perky bob and power lipstick. Amelia? What's this about? Promotion chat. I slid the envelope across, my smile a razor. Read it. Aloud, if you like. For the record. Her eyes scanned, widened at the Clause 8 invocation. Pursuant to Section 4.2.8, I hereby resign effective immediately, citing material irregularities in fiscal reporting from Q1 2020 to Q4 2021. Including but not limited to unauthorized diversions exceeding $12 million. She trailed off, face draining like bad Botox. Ames, this is HR protocol requires. I cut her off, voice low thunder. Protocol's what I'm enforcing. You forward this to legal and the board by noon, or I go public. Your call. Panic set in fast. Her fingers fumbled for the phone, dialing compliance while I stood sentinel, heart hammering like a subprime crash. That's when Marcus called. First ring at 9:02, voicemail by 9:03. Amelia, what the fuck? Meet me in my office. Now. I ignored it, watching Elena's screen light up with board alerts, the Clause auto-firing compliance bots. By 9:15, the floor buzzed, whispers rippling like a bad trade. I slipped out to the elevators, badge deactivated mid-floor, but not before catching Marcus's PA sprinting toward me, eyes wild. He wants you upstairs. Emergency. The ride to the penthouse was a blur of mirrored walls reflecting a woman I'd almost forgotten. Chin high, eyes like flint. Marcus's domain was all leather and ego, framed Forbes covers, a minibar stocked with single malt lies. He was pacing when I entered, tie askew, that silver mane disheveled for the first time since the raid. Ames, baby sit. Let's talk this through. His charm offensive, the one that reeled me in years ago, now slimy as week-old sushi. I stayed standing, arms crossed. Talk. You mean spin, like you did to the feds. He winced, theatrical. That was survival. For both of us. You know how this town works. Lambs to the wolves. I protected you. Protected. The gall. I laughed, sharp and hollow. Protected? You fed me to them, Marcus. My career in ruins, while you cashed the bonus checks. That bridge loan. It was a Ponzi wet dream, and I ate the blame. He stepped closer, hand reaching. Instinct, I guess, for the old dance. I jerked back. Don't. We're done with performances. The board was assembling via video, faces pixelated on his wall screen, murmurs of whistleblower. Now, Elena patched in, voice quavering, legals reviewing the attachments. It's detailed. Marcus's jaw tightened, eyes flicking to me like I was the glitch in his matrix. What do you want, Amelia? Money? Equity? Name your price. We negotiate. Ah, the American way. Everything's a deal, even absolution. I leaned in, voice venom sweet. I want what you stole from me. Truth. On the record. Or I walk, and the SEC gets the director's cut. He cracked then, just a hair. The great Marcus Hale, reduced to bargaining in his own kingdom. You think this makes you the hero? You're as dirty as I am, sweetheart. Those sign-offs. Your fingerprints. True enough, and that's what made it sting. What would make the headlines chew us both raw? But heroes? Wall Street doesn't breed them, it breeds survivors. And I was done surviving in his shadow. Maybe, I said, turning for the door. But only one of us gets to wear the villain hat. Guess which? As I hit the elevator, my phone exploded. Texts from old allies, reporters sniffing blood, heart drops bomb on Apex, insider trading redux. The lobby was a gauntlet of stairs, security trailing discreetly, but I walked out into the midday glare like a free woman, the city's pulse syncing with my own. Revenge tasted like freedom, sharp and addictive. But as the cab merged into the FDR drive, doubt crept in. The what-ifs, the fallout. Marcus wouldn't go quiet. He'd counter, smear, sue. And me? I'd be the scorned witch or the avenging angel, depending on the spin. Either way, the war was just ignition. The fallout hit like a derivatives crash, swift, indiscriminate, shredding alliances I'd nursed like houseplants in a blackout. By evening, my inbox was a war zone. Apex's PR firm demanding NDAs, a Wall Street Journal stringer offering off-record tea for a byline. Even my estranged sister from Philly texting. Saw your name on CNBC. Mom would have been proud. Or pissed. I holed up in my Bushwick brownstone, blinds drawn against the paparazzi drones humming like mechanical hornets. A bottle of Napa Cab helped dull the edges, but sleep? That was for the innocent. Dawn brought the countersuit, faxed to my door by 7 a.m., courtesy of Marcus's Shark Tank. Defamation, breach of fiduciary duty, the works. Ms. Hart's allegations are baseless fabrications from a disgruntled ex-employee. The press release crowed, painting me as the bitter climber denied her throne. Cute. They attached depositions, cherry-picked emails where I'd greenlit the transfers, my words twisted like pretzels. See? Complicit, the narrative went. But they missed the metadata, the timestamps proving coercion, the voice memos I'd stashed of his late-night pleas. Sign it. Ames, or we're both done. I lawyered up fast. Rachel, a bulldog from Columbia days, who took one look at my dossier and whistled low. This is dynamite. But risky. Clause 8 buys you immunity from retaliation suits, but not the court of public opinion. You ready to be the villainess? Villainous. The word echoed Marcus's playbook. We both played dirty. The difference was intent. Mine was survival, then retribution. His? Pure greed, masked as vision. Rachel filed the response by noon. Counterclaims for emotional distress, a long shot, but theatrical, plus a motion to unseal his testimony transcripts. Let the jury see the knife, she said, eyes gleaming. Apex's board fractured predictably. Old guard versus the tech bros Marcus had installed post-raid, all chasing the next unicorn while the SEC circled like vultures. Whispers leaked, 2 directors jumping ship, citing governance concerns. Elena called me at 3 p.m., voice a whisper from a burner. They're scapegoating him, Ames. Blaming the old regime. But your name's mud in the C-suite now, the mole. Gratitude? Nah, just survival math. You knew the risks, I shot back. Or did you forget who pulled you from your own dumpster fire? Silence, then a sigh. Truce. Coffee. I might have dirt on his Cayman accounts. Dirt. The currency of our world. We met at a hole-in-the-wall in Midtown, the kind with Formica counters and waitresses who don't care about NDAs. Elena slid over a thumb drive, eyes darting like a ferret. Passwords included. Use it wisely. He's got hooks in the DA's office. Motive? Self-preservation, probably. Her pension vested next quarter. But it was gold. Wire logs tying Marcus to a Ukrainian shell, laundered through his NFT flop. I pocketed it, nodding. You're off my list. For now. As she left, I caught my reflection in the window. Hollow cheeks, the weight of secrets etching lines like bad code. Marcus escalated that night, unannounced at my door. 9:47 p.m., rain sheeting the stoop like a bad omen. Security buzzed him up. Old habits. He looked wrecked, stubble shadowing that chiseled jaw, shirt untucked like a defeated general. Let me in, Ames. Please. Against every instinct, I did, curiosity, or the ghost of what-ifs. The living room smelled of takeout, Thai, and tension. He collapsed on the couch, head in hands. They're carving me up. The board wants my head to save face. You did this, why now? Why? The question I'd rehearsed in mirrors, therapy sessions I couldn't afford anymore. Because you broke me, Marcus. Not just the job, the trust. I carried your sin like a cross, and you nailed me to it. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed, the mask slipping. I loved you. Still do. That money? It was for us, a nest egg, escape from this meat grinder. You think I wanted to throw you under? Love. The dirtiest word in our lexicon. I poured us both water. No booze, clarity's edge. Love doesn't forge forgeries. Or testify lies. He leaned forward, voice cracking. Help me fix it. Testify it was mutual, a lover's pact gone wrong. We share the blame, split the settlement. Walk away legends, not lepers. Temptation flickered, the old synergy calling. Legends. But legends don't wake screaming from nightmares of orange jumpsuits. No, I said, final as a gavel. You burn alone. He stood, face twisting, hurt to fury in a blink. You'll regret this, Amelia. I'll bury you deeper than before. The door slammed like a guillotine. I bolted it, heart racing, wondering if regret was just another clause waiting to be quoted. The next weeks blurred into deposition hell. Lawyers grilling me under fluorescent buzz, Marcus's team painting me as the seductress scammer, a Me Too villainess in reverse. Tabloids feasted. Wall Street's fatal attraction. Did she or didn't she? Protests outside Apex. Activists chanting, audit the 1%, holding signs with my face photoshopped as Lady Justice, blindfold askew. I became a Rorschach test, feminist icon to some, corporate Jezebel to others. Rachel advised laying low, but low meant isolation. Friends ghosting, dates canceling with timings off. Even my running route along the East River felt exposed, shadows lengthening like accusations. Twist came mid-November, a subpoena I didn't see coming. Not from the SEC, but the Manhattan DA. Marcus's hooks. Turns out, Elena's dirt had teeth. They wanted me as a witness against him for the full Monty. Wire fraud, money laundering, the works. Immunity for testimony, they dangled. But testifying? It meant reliving the affair in open court, my dirty laundry flapping for jury fodder. Do it, Rachel urged. Flip the script, he's the monster now. Monster. We'd both worn the skin at times. His schemes, my silences. The line blurred in memory. Nights I'd ignored red flags for the thrill of his orbit, the power high masking the rot. I agonized over it in St. Pat's, of all places. Ironic, seeking grace in a tourist trap. Kneeling amid the incense and whispers, I tallied sins. Mine, his, ours. Betrayal's not unilateral, it's a chain reaction. But chains break, and someone swings the hammer. I called the DA at dusk, voice steady. I'm in. Marcus got wind fast, another uninvited visit, this time with flowers, red as warning flags. Don't do this, he pleaded through the peephole, voice muffled. We're the same, you and me, survivors. I opened the door a crack. Survivors don't sacrifice pawns. Goodbye, Marcus. Trial prep ramped the tension to aneurysm levels. Mocks where prosecutors played his cross-exam, shredding my credibility. Ms. Hart, isn't it true you benefited from the funds? That Tribeca rental in your name. Lies, mostly, but close enough to chafe. Leaks suggested Marcus was plea bargaining, offering mid-level scalps to save his. Elena? She flipped first, testifying tearful about pressure from above. Cowards breed in herds. Climax brewed on a snowy December eve, the kind where Manhattan hunkers down and secrets spill like slush. I was en route to the DA's office for final walkthrough when my cab idled at a light on Park Avenue, right outside Apex's holiday gala, valets swarming like ants. Through the window, I spotted him, Marcus on the balcony, arm around a new VP, some fresh-faced ingenue half my age, laughing at Skyline toasts. Our Skyline. Rage boiled, unbidden, the old wound suppurating. Screw prep. I paid the cabbie and stormed in, badge or no. Security too festooned in tinsel to notice. The ballroom was a glittering farce, crystal chandeliers dripping light on power suits, a string quartet murdering jingle bells. I wove through, a ghost in black wool, until I hit the balcony doors. Marcus turned mid-laugh, face paling like curdled milk. Amelia. What the? The ingenue blinked, clutching her flute. I ignored her, stepping close, voice a hiss over the wind. Enjoy the view, Marcus. Last one before the bars. He recovered fast, charm autopilot. Security. But eyes betrayed him, fear, raw and real. That's when it escalated, controversy incarnate. I pulled the thumb drive from my pocket, Elena's gift, my ace, and dangled it like bait. This goes to the DA tonight. Unless you confess. Here. Now. To her, to them. Guests milled closer, murmurs swelling. The ingenue gasped, backing away. Marcus's hand shot out, snatching for it. Instinct, possession. I yanked back. He lunged. We grappled, a tableau of tangled limbs and whispered curses, the drive skittering across marble. A collective inhale from the crowd. Phones out, flashes popping like gunfire. He pinned me against the railing, breath hot. You bitch, this ends us both. But in his eyes, a flicker, not rage, but regret? Or calculation. The line blurred again. His weight a reminder of intimacies turned toxic. I need him. Hard, below the belt. And he crumpled, gasping. Security swarmed then, hauling him off as I scrambled for the drive. Crowd parting like the Red Sea. Monster, someone yelled. She's unhinged, another. Split down the middle, just as I'd engineered. As cops cuffed him, preemptive, on my trespass rap, the ingenue stared at me, not hate, but pity. Or was it recognition? We'd all danced this dance. The arrest was a media supernova. Headlines screaming, Apex CEO cuffed at gala. Lover's revenge or corporate coup. From the Times to TikTok threads dissecting my unhinged takedown. I spent the night in a holding cell that reeked of bleach and broken dreams. Rachel bailing me out at 4 a.m. with a thermos of diner coffee and a rye. Heroic or habeas corpus? The charges against me? Dropped by breakfast. Trespass as self-defense. Video from gala phones showing his lunch first. But the real verdict played out in living rooms across the 5 boroughs. Talking heads debating if I was avenger or aggressor. Amelia Hart trending with memes of me as Thelma to his Louise. Cliffs swapped for balconies. Marcus lawyered up harder than Fort Knox. Plea deal crumbling under the thumb drive's weight. Elena's logs corroborated my testimony, painting him as the spider at the web's heart. The DA painted it vivid. A systematic scheme exploiting client trust, enabled by intimate deception. Intimate. The word slithered through depositions, cross-exams probing our affair like pathologists on a corpse. Ms. Hart, describe the nature of your relationship during the relevant period. I kept it clinical, professional overlap, evolving personally. Trust eroded by discovery of discrepancies. But eyes rolled. Jurors, reporters, even the judge, a grizzled Irishman with a poker face hiding judgment. His defense flipped the script masterfully, as expected. A scorned woman's vendetta. They thundered, trotting witnesses. Ex-colleagues swearing I was ambitious to a fault. A therapist, subpoenaed, unethical as hell. Hinting at attachment issues from my unstable upbringing. The betrayal deepened. My past exhumed like landfill. Dad's alcoholism splashed in exhibits. Mom's early grave as motive for instability. Marcus took the stand day 3, silver tongue polished. Amelia was brilliant, but volatile. I ended it to protect the firm. She couldn't handle rejection. Lies layered like lacquer. But his eyes, when they met mine across the well, held no apology, just the cold calculus of a man who'd always seen me as expendable. The courtroom became a pressure cooker, tension coiling tighter with each objection sustained. Protesters outside swelled, Wall Street reformers waving my dossier printouts, counter-protesters from men's rights groups decrying false accusations. I testified on day 5, the stand a confessional under Klieg lights. I covered for him because I believed in us, I said, voice steady despite the quiver in my gut. But belief dies when trust does. He betrayed not just me, the clients, the system we swore to uphold. Cross-hammered. Yet you signed the falsifications, Ms. Hart. Complicity. I met their gaze. Survival. The difference between a victim and a villain is who holds the pen. That line landed. Murmurs rippled, a juror nodding faint. But controversy peaked with Exhibit 47. A voicemail I'd leaked. Marcus's voice slurred post-scotch. Ames, without you, it's all dust. Come back, fix this. Intimate deception, indeed. His team spun it as manipulation, prosecution as proof of guilt. The ingenue, testifying tear-streaked, sealed the split. He told me she was obsessed, unstable. But watching that balcony, I saw fear in him, and power in her. Power. The word hung, ambiguous. Who wielded it? Him, in the shadows? Me, in the light. Deliberations dragged 2 days, city holding breath like pre-Y2K. I paced Rachel's office, chain-smoking her menthols despite the quit app on my phone. If they acquit him, she warned, your countersuit's DOA. But conviction? You're vindicated. Maybe even a book deal. Vindication. It tasted hollow, a consolation for scars. What of the gray? My complicity, his charm that once felt real. No one's hands were clean. That's the American tragedy. Capitalism's original sin, where ambition excuses atrocity. Verdict dropped at 6:17 p.m., Friday, guilty on all counts, fraud, laundering, perjury. Sentence hearing set for January, but the plea collapsed. He faced 15 to 20, no golden exit. The courtroom erupted. Cheers from the galleries left, boos from right. Marcus, shackled now, shot me a look across the divide. Not hate, but a twisted respect? Or warning. This isn't over, his lawyer mouthed as they let him out. Over. The word mocked me as I exited into a blizzard-whipped Foley Square, reporters mobbing like wolves. Vindication's afterglow faded fast. Apex imploded, stock plunging 28%, board ousting the holdouts, a fire sale of assets to stabilize. Elena landed on her feet, poached by a VC firm with a whistleblower chic bio. Me? Offers trickled, podcasts wanting my story, a boutique consultancy sniffing redemption arc. But the twist, the real gut punch, came New Year's Eve. A manila envelope slipped under my door, no return address. Inside, a single USB, labeled for Amelia, Truth. My hands shook plugging it in. Marcus's scrawl on the case, smuggled somehow from MCC. Audio files, dated back to 19. Our early calls, laughter laced with ambition. Then deeper, a confession, recorded post-arrest. I pinned it on you because I couldn't face losing everything. But you were the best part, the only real in the grind. Forgive me? Or hate me forever? Your call. Voice broken, human for once. Attached, a notarized codicil to his will, leaving me 10% of his liquidated assets, enough to retire on or rebuild. The debate ignited in my skull, splitting me wider than any jury. Except, it'd taint the win, make me complicit in his redemption. Reject? Petty, when karma had already cashed the check. Rachel advised shredding it. Don't let him haunt you. But as fireworks cracked over the East River, bottle of Veuve half empty, I played it again. Forgiveness isn't absolution, it's release. I wired the funds to a victim's fund, anonymous, clean, then deleted the files, the last chain snapping. Epilogue. 6 months on, summer 26, I'm CEO of a scrappy fintech startup in Flatiron, auditing the auditors, turning Betrayal's ash to fertilizer. Marcus appeals from a cell in Otisville, letters unanswered. The city churns on, deals inked in fresh ink, secrets buried daily. Was I right? Wrong? The twist lingers. In the end, revenge didn't heal, it clarified. No heroes, just survivors quoting clauses in the dark. And in America's grand, gritty opera, that's the only happy ending we get. But wait, there's more. Or less. A final voicemail, time-stamped last week, forwarded from an unknown number. His voice, frail now, Ames, heard about the startup. Proud. One last thing, I never told you, but that first scotch? I saw you across the room and knew. You'd either save me or sink me. Turns out both. Click. Debate eternal, love's cruelest clause. No, scratch that epilogue. Truth's messier, and closure's a luxury for Hallmark scripts. 6 months post-verdict, and the scars itch like cheap polyester under a power suit. My startup CEO gig? It's a grind. Pitching VCs who eye me like a sideshow, whispering, that Wall Street whistleblower behind pitch decks. The funds I funneled? Good karma. Maybe, but clients still hesitate, resumes ghosting me in interviews. Rachel calls it victory's tax. I call it the bill for dancing too close to the flame. Marcus's appeal dragged into fall, headlines cycling like bad reruns. Apex XEO seeks new trial. claims jury tampering by hard allies. Tampering? Please, his ego rewriting history. But the letters started then, weekly via his appellate lawyer. Not begging, but probing. Remember Aruba 21? The stingrays, your laugh echoing over the waves. We were infinite then. Infinite. The delusion clings like humidity. I burned the first batch in my sink, blue flame devouring ink. But curiosity's a bitch. The latest arrived yesterday, postmarked from Otisville. Inside, not reminiscence, but a proposal. Testify at the hearing. Say it was mutual. Say you orchestrated the cover for your cut. We both walk amended sentences, rebuild. Rebuild. The audacity, flipping victim to co-conspirator one last time. Attached, a draft affidavit, my signature forged in pixels, ready to scan. My blood ran cold, not shock, but recognition. This was him, always 3 moves ahead, scheming from stripes. Call the feds? Leak it as tampering? Tempting, but it'd prolong the circus, drag me back into the docket's maw. Instead, I drove upstate that weekend, first time since the plea collapse. Otisville's a white-collar spa, golf greens visible from the fence, but visiting hours felt like a confessional booth with barbed wire. He shuffled in, orange jumpsuit clashing with his tan, silver hair cropped military. Ames. No surprise, just that half-smile, the one that once disarmed boardrooms. I sat, glass partitioning us like judgment. The affidavit? Low, even for you. He shrugged, palms up. Practicality. We're tied. You and me. Blood oath and numbers. Help me. I help you. That startup needs capital. I've got contacts. Contacts. The web he spun, sticky as ever. I'm not your pawn anymore, Marcus. And this. I slid the envelope under the slot. Burn it. Or I will. His eyes searched mine, probing for the crack, the old loyalty, the love that lingered like smoke. You think you're free? This town's small. I'll be out in 5, reformed poster boy. You'll need allies. Threat? Promise? The ambiguity was his weapon, always. I stood, chair scraping loud. Allies don't forge forgeries. Enjoy the view. It's all you've got left. Driving back, the throughway a ribbon of taillights under sodium glow, doubt gnawed deeper. Was he right? The industry's a viper pit, grudges metastasize. A week later, confirmation, my startup's lead VC pulled funding, citing reputational risks after an anonymous tip. Marcus's handiwork, no doubt. Rachel fumed. Sue the bastard. Extortion from a con. But suing meant more headlines, more splits. Hero holding ground, or Harpy hounding the humbled. The real twist hit like a blackout. November 15th, a call from Elena. Voice hushed from a Dubai layover. Ames, heads up. He's got a mole in your ops, someone feeding him internals. Someone. Paranoia bloomed overnight. I audited my team, eyes narrowing at every Slack ping. It was Javier, the junior analyst I'd mentored. Ambitious kid from the Bronx, starstruck by Marcus's visionary TEDx clips. A coffee confessional cracked him. He promised equity, post-release. Said you'd understand. Family sticks. Family. The word curdled. I fired him clean. No cops, just a severance gag order. But the leak cost us a pilot client, stock options tanking. Sleepless now, prowling my loft as the city slumbered, I replayed the balcony lunge, the courtroom stairs. Revenge's high fades to a plateau of vigilance. Every shadow a scheme, every deal a double cross. No happy ending, just the grind rebooted, clauses quoted in whispers. Yet, in the underbelly, a spark persists. December dawns crisp, and I'm at a holiday mixer. Irony's gift, networking with reformers, the kind building blockchain for good. A silver fox approaches, not Marcus but his echo. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. Amelia Hart? Your story inspires. Flirtation? Alliance? I smile guarded. Stories and open. What's yours? As we clink glasses, the skyline winks conspiratorial. Betrayal's lesson. Trust no one fully, but play everyone close. In America's tense tango, that's the rhythm. Dark, disputable, deliciously alive. And Marcus? Appeal denied last week. 20 years, no parole. His final letter, forwarded unopened. Infinite was real. Don't let it break you. I didn't burn it. Tucked it in a drawer, beside the USB of our laughs. Not forgiveness, détente. Because in the end, the controversial truth, we were both the betrayed, both the betrayers. The twist? There is no side, just the dance, eternal, under New York's unforgiving lights. Fade to gray.